Hello po. Good afternoon, everyone. Hintayin lang po natin yung ibang participants. So, while waiting, fill up na lang po ng attendance natin yung nasa chat box po. Send ko na lang din po ulit. Also, I would like to acknowledge po the presence of our previous resource speakers, si Sir Erwin po, at si Sir Ruben. Good afternoon po sa inyo.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, ayun po. So, in 5 minutes siguro, 2:05, mag-start tayo ng webinar. So, for those who just joined us, pa-fill up na lang po ng attendance natin. So, I'll be sending it again. Thank you po. Hello po. Good afternoon. Siguro enough na yun na time para hintayin natin yung iba. So, hi Sir Alice. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon, sir. Yun po.
Yes, good afternoon.
Welcome to Introduction to Artificial Intelligence with Machine Learning in Java webinar. That is, of course, made possible by the partnership of DICT LC2 and from our good friends from Batangas State University. I'm Randall, by the way, from DICT Luzon Cluster 2 under free Wi-Fi in public places. Of course, the project that made this webinar possible. And allow me to give a brief overview of what DICT is. Okay. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, or more known as DICT, shall be the primary policy, planning, coordinating, implementing, and administrative entities of the executive branch of the government that will plan, develop, and promote the National ICT Development Agenda, which is made possible under Republic Act 10844. Okay, what is free Wi-Fi for all? By virtue of Republic Act 10929, free Wi-Fi for all aims to provide free access to internet service in all public places throughout the country, so as to promote knowledge building among citizens and enable them to participate and compete in the evolving information and communication age. Okay, so just a quick run through on our house rules. So number one, make sure your microphones are on mute during the lecture, but if there are questions, feel free to ask them on our chat box anytime during the webinar. We'll be allotting time afterwards because we'll be having our Q&A portion after the discussion by our resource speaker po. So para may closure tayo sa mga questions natin. And of course, for everyone who registered, fill up the attendance sheet. The link was provided earlier, but here's the link anyway. So thank you po sa mga kapag-send po sa chat box natin. And also, another requirement for you to claim your certificates are 3 activities that will be flashed by our resource speaker during the webinar. We'll be giving you at least 5 minutes to comply. So make sure you take a screenshot of those activities, and we'll be requiring you to upload them later on in the post-evaluation form. We'll be providing the link for that also after the webinar. So for you who might miss some parts of our webinar, you can watch the replay of our this webinar on DICT LC2 Free Wi-Fi for All's YouTube channel, which is here at number 5. So please check it out. Paki-share na rin sa ibang sa friends natin, sa classmates, and sa mga ka-work natin. So, okay. I think that's it para sa house rules sa bahay ni Kuya. And with that, allow me to introduce the big brother himself, our resource speaker for today. He got his bachelor's degree in computer science from Lyceum of the Philippines University in Batangas last 2007. Currently is working on his master's thesis for MS in Computer Science in Ateneo de Manila University with the aid of DOST, also a national agency, ERDT scholarship. He had IT industry experiences for almost 8 years in programming and software development, likewise in data analysis and report automation. In 2015, he was started as a computer science and information technology instructor in LPU Batangas as well. He's an Oracle Academy program member under Lyceum of the Philippines University in Batangas, Microsoft Office specialist in Excel 2016, and a member of Computer Science Teachers Association. And currently, he is a lecturer from the College of Informatics and Computing Sciences at Batangas State University, Josepi Laurel Polytechnic College in Malvar. And for those, for some, he might be quite familiar, baka prof niyo pa si Sir resource speaker natin. So without further ado, so here he is, Mr. Aris Gail S. Mendoza. Sir Aris, hello.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar. And this is my first time to be the speaker for such webinar, so medyo kabado pa, medyo nervyos pa. So let's just bear with me, all right? Okay, so I'll start with my presentation. Just a moment. There we go. All right. So again, welcome to the Introduction to Artificial Intelligence with Machine Learning and in Java. And I'll be your speaker for today. And this webinar series builds up on the skills gained by students in object-oriented programming. And it will also introduce you to machine learning concepts within artificial intelligence and learn some terminology, syntax, and steps required to get a better understanding on how to create a machine learning solution. And the fundamental prerequisites for this webinar is you should have knowledge on object-oriented concepts, data structures, recursion, terminology, and syntax in Java. So again, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to ask them and type it on the chat box. So for the evaluation, I'll be giving 3 activities within the session. And these 3 activities, you need to answer it and then take a screenshot of the score of your scores for that activity. And you need to save it, and it will be uploaded on your post-evaluation form later on. And as per any webinar series in DICT, you'll also be getting the quiz for this whole webinar for you to get your certificate. So let's start with the discussion for this topic. Now, the topics included in this webinar is the introduction to AI and ML. ML means machine learning, not the Mobile Legends. The next is data and information as categories, machine learning and the machine learning workflow. So these first three topics here are more of discussion. So wala pa tayo masyadong coding here. So just bear with the discussion. So para magkaroon kayo ng gist on what is artificial intelligence and machine learning in general. And then on the 4th topic, binary trees, recursion, and traversals, this is gonna be a review of your data structures and algorithms subject. And then we are going to tackle some codes here as well. And then next up is the actual thing. We're going to discuss here the algorithms for machine learning. And one of them is the decision tree algorithm. And also we're going to talk about information entropy. And then these two topics are more of discussion as well, but it will contain some mathematics as well. So I hope hindi kayo mabore dito. And the last one is the creation of non-binary tree. And then also I'll be demonstrating to you the output of the machine learning program in Java. So first is introduction to AI. The objectives of this lesson, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to define artificial intelligence, define machine learning, give examples of using artificial intelligence, and define data exhaust. All right. By the way, can you hear my voice, by the way, clearly? And you can see my presentation?
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for the response. Okay. Let's proceed. So what is artificial intelligence? So basically, artificial intelligence has a goal concept wherein we want the machines to behave seemingly intelligent, all right? And there has been several attempts on portraying machines to behave or imitate humans. And this is evident in some sci-fi movies and TV series, such as Space Odyssey from 2001, Big Hero 6, Annie, which is a Filipino sci-fi movie, Are You Human? And My Absolute Boyfriend, these are the Korean TV series. But one of the movies here, the Big Hero 6, is based on a real project from Robotics Institute in a university in abroad, and that is and in this video, I'm going to show you this video from this is Chris Atkinson, a professor of Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon University. Baymax from Big Hero 6 has been inspired from his work in his laboratory. So let's watch this video.
Healthcare robot, Big Hero 6.
This is what I've been working on.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion.
I cried when I first saw that movie.
A robotic nurse.
Some of my own work helped inspire Baymax.
Hello.
In order to get robots that are safe to take care of people, I wanted to make them very light.
Looks like a walking marshmallow. No offense.
We started looking at inflatable robots on the theory you can't kill someone with a pool toy.
Going for a non-threatening, huggable kind of thing.
The Disney folks visited our lab and really developed it in ways we hadn't even thought of. And thus, we got a lot of inspiration from watching that movie.
I will scan you now. Scan complete. You have a slight epidermal abrasion on your forearm. I suggest an antibacterial spray.
What's in the spray specifically?
The primary ingredient is bacitracin.
It's a bummer. I'm actually allergic to that.
You are not allergic to bacitracin.
What we can't get scanned for is the internal chemistry, which it was sort of suggested that Baymax could scan you and tell you about something that was chemically wrong with you.
You do have a mild allergy to peanuts.
But that's within the realm of possibility and, might happen in our lifetimes.
What kind of battery does it use?
Lithium ion.
That's actually a little problematic. Yes, lithium-ion batteries are really good to use, but they're also likely to explode or burn up. And there's this famous case of NASA, and they had a robot sitting in a lab. The robot suddenly starts burning and basically burns up entirely. So batteries are going to be a problem.
You have been a good boy. Have a lollipop.
We've seen in other movies that, a robot that comes in there and just tells you what to do is going to be met with a lot of resistance, hostility. It's just not going to work. So this is my Baymax. It takes care of me. I take care of it. It doesn't take much for a robot to be a good companion.
All right. So Professor Atkinson's robot is only one of the actual robotics project in the world that can exhibit intelligence. And as you can see naman there on the movie na on the way the Baymax talks, parang tao na rin siya kung makipag-usap sa tao. And watching Big Hero 6 would make us wonder how much intelligence these robots have, or is it really measurable? So we have this thing here to know that kung paano natin malalaman yung kung gaano kataas ang intelligence ng isang machine. The father of computing, or the father of computer, Alan Turing, created the Turing test during 1950s to measure the machine's intelligence. And how does this test being done? First, during this test, a human and a computer will be engaged in a dialogue via command line, which is being observed by an observer. The observer then will be told that one of the participants is a human and the other is a computer. Now, here's the thing. If the observer cannot identify which one is the human, then the machine has passed the test. Meaning, the machine has passed the level of being human-like character. So that is how Alan Turing made the Turing test to measure the machine's intelligence. And then we are also there's also kumbaga parang misunderstanding. I'm not sure I'm not sure for that right term, but processing power is all might some people have considered processing power as artificial intelligence already, but it is different from the true intelligence. So given example, we're taking a photo on our smartphone. So in this case, you have a clear photo, automatically adjust lighting, and so on and so forth. But this features here presents the power of the hardware that is used to capture those photos. Now, how are we going to see or to know the true intelligence in capturing photos? And compared to the previous list, this list here, for example, identifying objects in the photo or viewfinder, that is one of the intelligence that we can assure that the camera app is using artificial intelligence, because it can identify objects within the viewfinder or the images, and also count how many objects or how many humans or person on the picture. So that is the true intelligence. And these are possible if we show it some tag photos and continuously refine its ability to identify these objects during in this scenario. So this statement here is an example of a learned ability or behavior, meaning we are training the machine to identify objects through some test data. And through this test data, we're going to push him to the real world and let him identify those objects as objects starting from now, like that. So yeah, that is the difference between processing power and true intelligence. Now, how do we define artificial intelligence and machine learning? Machine learning and artificial intelligence are used interchangeably, but in reality, AI is just the attempt to build machines capable of simulating intelligent human behavior. On the other hand, machine learning is the science of getting computers act without being explicitly programmed. So yun yung difference nila. So as we conclude here, based on the definition, AI machines are built using ML, which is one of the building blocks of AI. So hindi lang ML lang meron sa AI. Meron pang iba, natural language processing and robotics and other stuff. Wherein, yun nga, since we are imitating human behavior and intelligence, kailangan din ng AI is makipag-usap sa ibang humans na parang tao din, gumalaw na parang tao din, mag-isip na parang tao din, and so on and so forth. So this webinar will just focus on machine learning, by the way. Okay. Also, machine learning programs aims to gain information that can be used later, which is built upon the study and construction of algorithms that can learn from and make predictions on data. And for applications on the real world scenario, AI and ML has been used first to improve search results in search engines, identify tag faces in picture, in like parang katulad ng ginagawa ng Facebook and IG, shows advertisements, and make content suggestions based on your preferences. For example, sa Spotify, when you play a certain playlist, Spotify will then provide you some similar playlist na pwedeng na maaring maging vibes mo din. Next up is to do tasks and provide information like virtual personal assistants, helps you navigate. So for example, na-miss mo yung right turn mo sa Waze, the Waze app will automatically calculate another path for you para makapunta ka doon sa destination mo. Next is assist in identifying abnormal activities during surveillance. For example, spotting a collapsed person in a busy sidewalk street. So malalaman mo, makita naman ng AI, for example, maraming naglalakad, tapos may makita siyang biglang nagbulagta or biglang may nangyaring kakaiba on that scenario. So AI would be able to identify that. Also, detecting fraud. For example, on credit card purchases or online purchases. Provide better diagnosis and healthcare. Also, assist in wealth management. Kailangan natin yan ngayon. And also, self-driving cars. Matalino na ngayon yung mga cars ngayon. And many more. So you might wonder how these applications get the information they process to do their task. The answer is just within our hands. And that is from the data exhaust. So what is this data exhaust? Data exhaust is your carbon footprint that you leave in the device or internet when you use it. Kumbaga, these are the data that you leave when you access something or you do something on your devices that is connected to the internet. Okay? And probably you are already providing your data exhaust right now in the meeting. For example, kanina, naglagay ka attendance, ma-attend kayo ng webinar na to. Yeah, the record for that. Anong oras kayo nag-log in or nag-log in. And also, for example, yung mga in-access nyo websites, mga tawag nyo, SMS, and so on and so forth. Okay? But then again, mahirap tanggalin ang data exhaust or mahirap mawala ang data exhaust natin. We cannot avoid leaving any data exhaust in our devices and internet, because as long as we are using our devices, malamang we are still leaving some data exhaust. And if you want to avoid giving out data exhaust, probably you just have to get off the grid, meaning don't use the technology itself. All right. But on the lighter note, data exhaust has helped in the growth of ML. The collection of the amount of data provided by us all gives a far bigger service area of information for people and computers to examine as long as they are anonymized. So, syempre, hindi naman lahat ng mga data na ginagamit ng machine learning programs and technologies are all anonymized, meaning wala na doon yung mga personal information na tuturo sa atin direkta. Okay? Now, what data have you left behind since you woke up this morning? So, isipin nyo, ano yung mga data na for sure na you left behind simula kaninang nung nagising kayo. Isip lang. Okay, so in the bigger picture, this is what makes AI AI. It needs data to know your information. It also needs processing power so that it can process your data efficiently and produce results in a fast way. And algorithms and data structures that dictates how AI behaves, thinks, and interacts with humans. These three are the focus of our discussion today. All right, next is let's focus deeply on data and information. After this lesson, you should be able to define data, information, and differentiate between them. Data, from the definition from the dictionary, is something that is given to or collected from. So technically, data is a raw product, a gathering of figures and facts, while information is the data in context or used or presented in such a way to make it meaningful. So at times, medyo nagiging obvious na yung difference ng data at ng information. But may mga times din na malilito ka kung ito ba'y data, ito ba'y information. But you just have to understand the context para malaman mo ang difference between them. All right, take for an instance this user and contact information. All right. Sa tingin nyo ba is this a data or an information? No. So kung sa tingin nyo this is information, nagkakamali kayo, because this is just a collection of facts. And simply put, it is just a data. Kung ito ay data, all right, how can we process this as an information. Para maging information itong collection of data natin ng conduct details ng isang tao, all right, we can present it as an address label. Meaning, this data here have been presented as an address label, and that address label is already an information. So yun yung pagkakaiba ng data and information. Simply put, information is presenting data from a data entry form. It is the product of processing the data. Formatting and arranging the data in a manner becomes an information. So for example, you have a raw CSV file containing all the records of your transactions, okay? And then you use that Excel file to create your report. So yung data mo na nasa CSV file is just data. And then the report that came from your CSV file is the actual information. So yun yung difference nila. Okay, time for the first activity. Okay. So here is the activity. To better grasp the lesson, answer this activity, I'll be giving out the link for this activity on the chat group. Teka lang, paano ko share yun? Okay. So take note, guys. This will be the first activity. All right, here we go. That is the link. Now this activity here is about identifying if a data is a data or an information, and you need to accomplish this within 5 minutes, right? And once 5 minutes is up, it will not accept any more responses. So make sure you answer it right now. Okay, let's start. So once you're done, don't forget to take a screenshot of the score you got from that activity. You are going to need to upload that screenshot later on your post-evaluation. For those who are done, just don't forget to take a screenshot of the score you got from this activity. We're going to discuss the answer later on para naman alam niyo kung ano yung sagot. Okay. By the way, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type it on the chat box. And then we're going to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. Almost time na. Dapat tapos na yung iba dyan. Dali lang yan. Nice one. All right, 1 minute left. Ninety responses pa lang. Meron. Okay, kaya niyo yan, guys. Kaya niyo yan. Don't forget to take a screenshot of your scores, ha? Do sa actual quiz form. You need to upload that later on sa post-evaluation. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So I'll be closing the form na. Sino pa hindi tapos? Okay. I'll giving you 30 seconds pa. Para naman ayos. Okay, wala na? Wala nang habol? All right, so I'll be closing now the form. So pasensya na hindi makakaabot. This form will not be accepting any responses anymore. So let's proceed with the next topic. Okay, now we're going to know how to categorize data. So in this case, you will be able to define supervised learning, unsupervised learning, classification, regression, and structured and unstructured data. Okay. So machine learning with the help of algorithms can learn based on the various inputs it accepts. These inputs may be from voice, files, internet searches, electronic instruments, or other sources. One way ML learns is through supervised learning. This occurs when there is information available, but not enough information to learn until more data is gathered. So kumbaga, supervised learning, data is ready, you just have to feed it on the machine para alam niya kung paano i-process yung data. All right? And then it has a known label or property or result set that feeds data from a training set. Data being fed can be independent data and dependent data. So what are these data types? Dependent data, or I'm going to use a scenario here, bank loan application scenario. So given here, the criteria used to determine if the loan will be approved is the independent data. So given, ito yung mga requirements para makapag-apply ka sa bank loan. For example, salary mo, salary information, your tax information, your assets, kung employed ka ba, if you have other loans na kinuha, yun yung mga independent data that is used to decide kung maaprubahan ba ang iyong bank loan or hindi. And then, those requirements are all independent data. And this independent data, dun binabase yung dependent data, which is our outcome, the outcome in this bank loan application is the approve or disapprove yung inyong bank loan application. And then, dependent data is always dependent on the independent data. Okay. Medyo nakakalito, pero simple lang yan. For example, in this table here, hide this. Okay, in this table here, this column headers here are your labels. So, kumbaga, this is a structured data. Right? Alam natin na ito yung mga criteria natin: age, has job, owns home, credit rating, and approved. All right? These are the labels of your data. And then the independent data here are the data requirements para maka-apply ka ng bank loan. So if you are, what's your age? Kung may trabaho ka, if you have house, or what is your credit rating? These are your independent data. Then this approved column here is the dependent data. So nakadepende dito sa inyong requirements if you'll be approved or not. So ito yung, this is how supervised learning is supervised learning's data is being classified. Okay. In supervised learning, we train the algorithm with training data and test its accuracy with test data. This will improve the ability to accurately respond to future data. And that is called generalization. Okay. So machine learning, since yung ginagawa natin yung machine learning, if you're developing a machine learning project, okay, meron tayong tinatawag na training data, wherein sample of data na we need to test if our machine learning project is working or not, or the algorithm is working or not. And then once we exhausted our training data, okay, so kumbaga, alam na ni machine, ni ML yung lahat ng mga criteria para makapag-provide ng information about a certain topic, okay, we're going to test with the test data. This is the actual live data na pwede natin ibato sa machine learning for us to check kung kaya niyang mag-detect or mag-provide ng accurate information based on his training data. Right? Kailangan talaga, if you're training algorithms, it must be flexible. Bakit? Kasi yung training data natin is, kumbaga, we consider them as your laboratory data or lab tests. Kumbaga, controlled mo yung data na binigay mo dun sa machine learning. If in case na yun nga, we deploy na yung project, right? It will be fed with live data, which is maaring hindi siya kumbaga, it will not meet the standards, or kumbaga wala din do sa required criteria ng inyong training data. Kailangan yung algorithm natin or the machine learning will be able to dynamically adjust doon sa incoming data na meron siya. So kumbaga, hindi siya maging strict when it comes in data that are not that are unseen or hindi natin na anticipate in the long run. So these are the algorithms examples that is used for supervised learning, and it is used for spam filtering, language detection, computer vision, search, and classification. So unsupervised learning naman, okay, the structure of the data set is unknown. So compared dun sa supervised learning na tabular, all right, we know this column here is an age, or this column here is another data, and so on and so forth. Alam natin yung structure ng data. So unsupervised learning, we don't know the structure of the data. The data is neither classified nor labeled. And possible mixture siya ng labeled and unlabeled data. Right? So the algorithms used in unsupervised learning draw inferences from data sets without labeled responses. These inferences, kumbaga, it judges kung gaano ka-similar or gaano ka-different yung mga data na yon. And ginugroup niya yung mga data na yon into smaller groups para alam niya this portion of data is similar or kumbaga equivalent, and this portion of data is also equivalent. Kumbaga, nasa-sort niya yung mga data na yon, right? And this allows the program to search for patterns and cluster items into groups by similarity. That's what I said earlier. All right, so some algorithms used for unsupervised learning, here it is: segmentation of data, used for segmentation of data, anomaly detection, recommendation systems, risk management, and fake image analysis. And by the way, our discussion will just focus on supervised learning. Now, more data in more detail. Data stored in labels fall into two categories: classification and regression. Right, classification is when independent data is defined as a class label and has a definite discrete value. Meaning, for example, the weather. Right, meron tayong weather: rainy, dry, or sunny. Right, that is already a classification data. Meaning, you just do label your data as is sunny, dry, or rainy, right? Yun. And regression naman, regression is data that uses real numbers. Okay? So yung two distinct differences ng regression and classification. Classification, definite value, either text. Regression, always number. Right? For example, rainfall in millimeter. Okay, so yeah. So for example, yung regression natin can be converted to classification as long as we provide some range of those values ng regression to make it classification. For example, sa Pag-asa rainfall advisory. So if you have a yellow, if the rainfall measures 7.5 millimeters to 15 millimeters, pag ganyan kataas yung ulan, it is a yellow rainfall. Okay? Meaning, kumbaga, okay pa. Orange and red, ito na yung medyo malala na. Possible sa orange magkaroon na ng baha, 15 to 30. And greater than 30 millimeters, it's red na. So if you have this kind of ranges, okay, this already becomes classification. So for example, binigyan ka ng rainfall in millimeter, for example, 8.5 millimeter. So yun lang yung rainfall amount is 8.5 millimeter. That is regression. So when you put that value regression, or kung i-classify mo yung value na to dun sa yellow, orange, and red, this is classified as yellow rainfall. That's it. So next activity. All right, I'll be getting the link again. All right. So in this activity here, you're going to classify some data. If it is a regression or a classification. So you have 5 minutes to answer the activity. And don't forget to take a screenshot of your score on the form if you're done. You'll be needing that later on too in your post-evaluation. Kung ano, hindi ko pa na-discuss yung answer. Right. Hopefully, hindi malakas ang ulan nyo dyan sa area ninyo. All right, 2 more minutes. Right, don't forget to take a screenshot of your scores on the activity form, ha? Kaya kakailanganin nyo yan. Pag wala kayong ma-upload mamaya sa post-evaluation, patay kayo. One minute. Okay. All right. Time's up. So I'll be closing. 30 seconds more. Okay, may humabol 105. Okay. Basic. Shucks, galing. All right, wala na. So I'll be closing now the activity. All right, so let me just tell you the answer for the first activity. Since wala na makakuha na activity na to. Okay. So I hope everyone can see the form. Okay. So the first scenario, all student marks is just data. Okay. So it's just a collection of student marks. That's already a data. Average of student marks. So kumbaga nagkaroon ng summarization of data. It becomes information. Country of all visited to a website. So it will just list down all the countries kung saan galing yung mga visitors. So that is data. Ako na mic ko. Okay, ako na mic ko. Alright, sorry. Now, total visitors of website by country. So sinummarize na naman niya yung total visitors per country. That is information. And then total sales is also an information. Say you summarize your sales for the day. Time and date of a sale transaction, that is just a data because it is, kumbaga, ano lang siya, a fact lang. Student data on enrollment form is also a data Okay. And student address on a label, and it is an information. Now, for the activity 2, okay, let me share this. Oops. Okay. So temperature, since these are numbers, this is regression data. Next is age, numbers, it's regression data as well. Age classified as young, middle, old is classification. House value, since these are numbers, regression. House value, low, middle, high, very high, it's classification. 7, eye color, blue, green, brown, it's classification as well. Animal, cat, dog, fish, it's classification. So, yeah, madali lang siya, diba? Okay, now let's go back to the presentation. Asa na? Okay. Now, so next part is structured and unstructured data. Structured data, in summary, this is just the tabular format of the data. So kumbaga, naka-tabular form siya. And each column there has a particular data type. For example, this column here is number, this column here is a date, this column here is string, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that is structured data. For unstructured data, ito yung data na hindi mo alam or hindi mo alam kung ano yung actual data type niya. Okay? Pwedeng halo-halo, pwedeng string, pwedeng picture, pwedeng date, pwedeng file, pwedeng blob. Okay? So example nito is email. Though yung email has some structure like the recipients and the subject, pero yung email message na yung body ng email is an unstructured data kasi hindi naman laging text ang laman ng email body. And also, it can also contain pictures, sounds, files, and etc. So it is unstructured data. So to look for structured data, you just have to gather inputs and results, generate a model from the inputs and results, and add new inputs and test results. So let's go back to the loan example. Okay. So here are the questions. Ring table. Here are the questions. Where can you find examples of classification? From here, it is column headers. These are the classification. Age, has job, owns house, credit rating, approved. And all of the columns here provides definite values. So age, young, middle, old, has job, yes or no, owns house, yes or no, credit rating, good, fair, excellent, approved, yes or no. So these are classification. All right. Now, next question is, the loan applicant information is stored as structured data. Show an example of an instance of the applicant's data. And that is this one. This is an instance of the application data. So this first row, first 4 columns here, okay, within this row. So young, yes, no, and good. This is an instance of the applicant data. Now, explain with an example how dependent data is used here. The dependent data here, okay, the dependent data is based on the applicant's data, which is this criteria. So if you have this criteria, you will have this dependent data, this output. Yun yung answer doon. Right? So why do we need to learn or tackle machine learning? So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to state the reasons why, reasons behind the growth of AI and understand the growth in processing power. So alam natin na one of the important factors of AI is data. Right? And also, data has been also been important because lahat ng data na kakollect sa atin, it has been more accurate, and also this has been kumbaga naging push, or kumbaga na dahilan ng our collection of data is because of our like electronic driven lifestyle, because yun nga, lagi tayong may gadgets, smartphones. So our smartphones initially are collecting data from us. So data collection has been accurate and so on. And the huge amount of our data is being recorded in every day lives natin. So yung mga mahilig My Day sa Instagram or Facebook, yun nga, yun na yun. Isa na yun sa mga nire-record sa'yo. Maliban pa dun sa mga other transactions like chats mo, calls and texts, and other stuff, and browsing websites and other stuff, right? So yun nga, machine learning is required to help turn this big data into information. Now, given yun nga, hindi naman natin magagawa itong ma-process yung big data information, this big data into information without the processing power of our computers. And as you have witnessed from technology from 1991 until now, and compared now, ang laki ng difference. From before, malalaking devices, as in, kumbaga parang walkie-talkie yung phones that before. And then also, yung mga computers natin, as in malalaki, may CRT na napakalaki, and then meron tower, something like that. Okay. Compared ngayon, we have laptops, we have mobile phones, okay? And also, palitan na siya ng form factor, okay? And likewise, the storage capacity of the storage devices increases as well. Dati, masaya na tayo sa 80 gig na hard disk. Ngayon, parang kulang pa yung 2 terabyte na hard disk sa atin. Okay? So, given, yun nga, the processors as well, nung that mga kapanahon, kopong-kopong, Intel Pentium 4, Pentium 3, Pentium 1, ngayon, quad-core, dual-core, so on and so forth. So, mas mabilis na ngayon yung processing power ng mga processors ngayon compared before. And those factors that increase of computational power had led us in understanding better the data and analyzing them better, right? And opportunities came up because of this machine learning. And marami na ngayon sa job websites na nag-offer ng positions for data science, Python developers, because data science and machine learning jobs are all in demand ngayon. Kaya nagsusulputan na rin sa schools yung mga courses that is related to machine learning and data science. And this data, because dahil nga sa dami ng data na kailangan i-process, kailangan ng mga companies na yun na i-process tong data na to, because this data will be used for decision making ng company para unlad pa nila yung kanilang mga businesses. Right? So this following slides here will display comparisons of technologies between different times. Okay? So una is the iPhone 4 compared sa supercomputer Cray 2 before. Alright, compare sila. And next one is the Nintendo Entertainment System, so yung family computer before. And then compared it to the Apollo guidance computer. Also, the processing power PlayStation 2S and the Samsung Galaxy S6. And the Tiane 2 supercomputer, I'm not sure the correct pronunciation for that, and the PlayStation 4S comparison. Okay, it took 15 years for a home product to match what was the fastest supercomputer available at that time. And it does not only match in processing power, but greatly reduced its size. So it's very, very evident naman talaga. And regarding that observation, Moore's law has been evolved or has appeared somewhere, 1965 by Gordon Moore. And this observation by Gordon Moore shows that the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit doubles about every 2 years. So from that period of time hanggang 2009, nakita talaga yung pagdoble ng processing power ng mga processors. But then again, once pagdating 2010, doon na bumagal yung pagbagal ng advancement ng ating mga semiconductor. And hindi pa nila alam kung kailan this Moore's law will stop to be applied in this technology. All right, so that is the machine power. Now, in this slide here, we'll start now the actual process of creating a machine learning project. And we'll start with the understanding the machine learning workflow. And we are going to understand here the use of models, especially the CRISP-DM model. So machine learning workflow, we need to identify the problem to solve, or what ideas should be understood better. And machine learning requires data input, computational power, and algorithms to start as a starting point to solve and understand a problem. And always keep in mind the goal of the machine learning, because this will be the basis if the results of the machine learning project is correct or not. Now, there have been different models for in data science for machine learning, and one of them is we're going to tackle today, which is CRISP-DM, or Cross-Industry Standard Process for Data Mining, which has 6 stages, which are business understanding, data preparation, model evaluation, and deployment. So to understand better each of these phases, business understanding talks about what questions needs to be answered. So ito yung kumbaga statement of the problem nyo. Ano yung gusto nyo ma-resolve ng machine learning. Data understanding is where you ask, saan mo kunin yung mga data na kailangan mo para sa iyong project. Okay? Saan mo hagilapin yung data na kakailanganin mo to answer the questions that you want to be answered. Next, data preparation. Ano-ano yung mga data na kailangan mo? Okay? From the source of the data, for example, receipts, databases, pipiliin mo dun sa mga source na yun kung ano yung mga data na kailangan mo. So that is data preparation. Modeling, what machine learning to be used, right? Evaluation is where you evaluate the results of the machine learning. And deployment, syempre, once you have completed the project, i-deploy mo siya for public use. All right. So in this CRISP flow, you will see here na iterative ang CRISP flow. Okay? Pwede siyang cycle. And pwede rin siyang, within these phases, magpabalik-balik sila. Because, syempre, kailangan talaga maayos talaga yung bawat process. For example, this understanding and data understanding. So, kung para makuha natin yung tamang data or tamang source ng data for our problem, we just need to refer back to the business understanding. Kung ano yung first nating objective. Okay, and so on. Hanggang sa evaluation. So, in case sa evaluation, nagkaroon ng parang deviation, we just need to go back sa business understanding to fully understand the whole process. And then start again hanggang sa maging tama, and then i-deploy the project. Okay? So for each machine learning projects, kailangan nyo ng training data. And there there have been a lot of sources sa internet where you can get public data. And eto, nag-lista ako ng dalawang possible sources for your public data, for your training data. And one is from ICS, one is from the database of US government. And you can use this for analysis and prediction of the outcomes. Okay, next activity. All right. For this activity, ayan, I'll put the link na muna para hindi kayo mahuli. Questions. All right. Okay. For this activity, you'll be referring back to the bank loan application. All right. You will classify the steps on the bank loan applications project, machine learning project, and identify niyo siya kung aling phase dun sa CRISP DM siya dapat na-classify or dapat gawin. So you have 5 minutes to answer this activity, and it starts now. All right, I have been answering some questions na. I'll be showing your answer, the answers for the Q&A mamaya. Right. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Time's up. Okay. I'll be closing. Uy, meron pang hindi nagsasubmit. Kanina, 4 pang kulang. Right. Okay, sige pa. Submit pa. May magsasubmit pa? Okay. Wala na? Alright, I think ito na yon. Uy, meron pa. Sige lang. Keep it coming. Alright, I'll close the response, the quiz na, or the activity. Okay, now to show you the answers. Okay, here are the answers. So for business understanding, should we approve this loan? That is the correct answer among the list. Data understanding, use historical records on previous applications and their outcomes. So that is the data understanding. Saan mo kukunin yung data mo? Data preparation, required criteria for our current salary, length of contract, other loan outstanding, and credit history. Those are the data you need for your project. Modeling, machine learning approach you want to adopt for scenario. Evaluation, evaluate how, and then deployment, deploy the solution. All right, so that is the last activity. So last na siya. Okay. So let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so now, ito na yung coding portion. We're going to review some of the data structures na alam natin and some algorithms. So we'll start with the binary trees. So we're going to review what is a node, what is a binary tree, and I'm going to show you an example class of a node class, right? So binary tree, given this example here, bukas pa mic ko. Okay, bukas ang mic ko. All right. So binary tree is a data structure based on an idea of nodes that have both left and right reference to other nodes. So this case, each node can have a maximum of 2 child nodes, right? So from this one, ito siya. This is the example of a binary tree in this image here. So the first node here will always be the root, all right? Apart from the root, lahat ng nodes below the root will have a parent, or will be connected to their parent node, right? And then sibling nodes are nodes that are under the same parent. And leaf nodes are nodes that doesn't have any children, right? So alam niyo na yan, binary trees, you just have to tackle it. Okay. Now this will be the structure of the node. So meron siyang data, merong right node and merong left node, and both are null. Okay, so these will be the methods in creating the node class. So I'm going to show you yung node class here. Okay. Just shift the presentation to my editor. Stop. Okay, a window there. Share. Okay. So this is a sample class of the node class. All right. And based on the structure kanina, we have a data, we have the left node, and then we have the right node. And this constructor here will just accept a data. And it will be assigned dun sa data property natin. And the left and right nodes will be null. So we have methods here, set left. We're going to set the node for the left node property of the class. Set right, we're going to set the node for the right property. Get left will return the left child node, the current node. Get right, get the right node. Get data will return the data of the current node. And set data is used to set the data for the current node. And so you have already seen the traversal of the tree. We have print pre-order, we have print post-order, and print in order. So we're going to discuss that later on. So ito yung node.java class. I'm going back to the slide. Tab. Share. Okay. So, yun lang muna yung anong papakita ko. And then, we have recursions. So, as we all know, recursion is a common call to methods in a computer application. It is a method call within the method, within the same method. Okay. It is a method makes a call to itself, right? In using recursion, syempre, using recursion will lead to smaller and more readable code. And sometimes, or most of the times, recursive methods can be difficult to write, especially kapag hindi mo alam kung paano gawin ang recursion, right? And be careful lang because you might write an infinite loop sa recursion because napakadaling magkaroon ng infinite loop sa recursion. So what do we need to remember when we are creating recursions? So first, we need to create the base case of the recursion. This base case will be the end of the recursion. Kumbaga, ito yung dead end ng recursion natin. So kumbaga, kapag na-meet niya yung base case na to, hindi na dig deeper pa yung recursion natin. And kumbaga, doon na matatapos yung pag-loop na ating recursion. So it's either 1 or 0, it's reached. And recursion. So for example, we have this non-recursive power function wherein this function here will raise any number to a power. Okay, it accepts an integer a and power of n. So every time yung n dito will be the counter to multiply the result to the given number, and the result will be the answer. Okay, so this is the non-recursive code. So for the recursive power code, okay, instead of using the for loop here or a loop statement, we are going to call again the function itself. In this case, we have our base case here. In case na kapag yung ating n here is equal to 0, it will return 1, since any number raised to 0 is equal to 1. And then if it's greater than 0, all right, it will do this portion. It will multiply the number and then the power of the same number pero less than na yung power niya. Ito yung recursive version. So in every recursion, it creates itself a new copy with own local variables and parameters. And one of the advantages of recursion is the memory issue. Since yun nga, gumagawa siya ng sariling copy of that recursion function na may sariling variables and stuff, okay? It adds up to your memory. And the more recursive calls you make, the more memory that is required. And kapag hindi na kaya na memory nyo, it will lead to the stack overflow error. So when it comes to this, bigla na lang maghahang yung computer nyo, and that is the end of it. All right. So that is the recursion. Now, tree traversal naman is the way on how to navigate the tree from the root to the leaves. All right. So we have three traversals: pre-order, post-order, and in-order. Okay. So sa pre-order traversal, all right, so matinuruan ko last sa LPU, maunang root, left, and then right. Okay. In this case, pre-order, root, left, first, 2, 4, 5, 7, 3, 6. Oops. Okay. So that is the pre-order traversal. Mauna yung root, and then the left node, and then the right node. Okay. For the post-order traversal, this is left, right, root. Okay, so this is 4, left, and then right. Wala siyang right, so it will go back here. 7, and then 5, and then 2, and then 6, 3, and 1. So it's left, right, and root. For in order, this is left, root, right. So in this case, 4, 2, 7, 5, 1, 3, 6. Okay. I'm not sure kung may traversal sa quiz sa post-evaluation. So, tandaan nyo na lang siya. Yun yung technique dun sa traversal. So, pre-order, root, left, right. Again, pre-order, traversal, root, left, right. For post-order, it's left, right, root. And then for in-order, it's left, root, and then right. Okay. Now, in this case, ito na yung implementation ng B3 or binary tree gamit ang node class. So I'll be showing you the actual code for this one. Stop presenting. 30 minutes na lang pala. Okay. So sa traversal. Okay, so print order, yun nga, root, left, right. For post order, left, right, root. This is the code. So you can see here, gumagamit ng recursion for navigating through the tree. Likewise, post order, left, right, root, print in order, left, root, right. And then the print, where it will print out the tree. So for the B3, okay, ito yung class ng B3. We have the root node, we have the current node, and the constructor here, we set the root to null. And then we have the search function to search for a node that contains a particular data. So given the argument here is a data, and it will search this data and compare that with each node in the tree. Search again, node and in data. This is the node dito, this argument here, dito siya magsisimulang mag-search, hindi sa root. Okay. In order, it will print the tree, pre-order, post-order. This is just a helper method. Get root, it will return the root. It will check if the tree is null or not. Count nodes, it will count the number of nodes in the tree. And count nodes from the starting node, it will count the number of nodes. And then print, get current node, set the current node, and set the root. Now, for us to try this, okay, Java Java. Kailan natin siya. Likewise, yung Java node, Java. Okay. And then we have a tree driver here wherein we are going to test the tree classes. So we have the main method here for a tree driver. We are going to create the tree. We're going to count the node after creation, adding the node to the root, setting the root, and then adding the nodes here. So yung format nito will be the same with the figure na pinakita ko kanina sa slide. Right? And then it will print the format of the tree. So I'll just compile this. Java tree driver.java. And I'm going to run this tree driver. There we go. Good. So, ito na siya. Creating tree. Ito yung mga output niya. And then it added some nodes on the tree. And then it prints out the order of the tree. Traversals for in order, traversal for pre-order, and traversal for the post-order. And then the structure of the whole tree. By the way, yung print method dito is came from the Stack Overflow post na makita niyo sa reference sa presentation. Let's go back sa slides. Okay. All right. So I'll skip some topics here kasi review lang naman yung iba. Okay, so we'll just jump to the algorithm, decision tree algorithm, wherein we are going to start with the knowing the machine learning algorithm for this. So we're going to use ID3 in our discussion, identify ID3. Okay. So decision tree algorithms is used to construct model based on answers or values. So given that you have, kumbaga, example is the Pinoy Henyo, all right? And for you to para mahulaan mo ko yung word na pinapahulaan sa'yo, you need to ask some questions para ma-identify mo yung sagot. And the response, the responder will tell if yes or no, or maybe, or something like that. Okay? And using those questions, okay, malalaman natin kung ano yung magiging sagot, ay yung sagot sa pinapahulaan. And eventually, in the long run, malalaman natin yung technique ng pagtatanong sa Pinoy Henyo hanggang sa maging syempre, prone na tayo sa pinanghenyo. Right? Now, you can also use that concept in decision trees. Okay? So decision trees, you will be able to identify which questions should be asked first para makausad tayo dun sa sagot na gusto natin. Okay? So for example, given that you have 20 questions, set of 20 questions, alangan naman isa-isahin mo lang na question para makapunta ka doon sa answer na gusto mo. Alright? Within those 20 questions, using the decision tree algorithm, alright, it will be reduced to some questions. Okay? The questions will be reduced, and then yun lang yung questions na kailangan mong tanungin para makaabot ka doon sa sagot na gusto mo. Alright? So yun yung purpose ng decision tree. It is for us to identify the questions that needs to be asked to direct us to the answers quickly. Okay. So given that this data here, right, lay outdoor sports. Right. So using this data here, we're going to use the decision tree algorithm to answer or to get if we can play outdoor or not. Right. I'll just skip here. Okay. So given na yun nga, sinunod natin yung order ng pagtatanong sa machine learning. All right. So if ano yung outlook, is sunny ba, overcast, or rain? Ano yung temperature, hot, mild, cold ba? Ano yung humidity, high, normal? Ano yung wind, weak or strong? Okay. So imbes na tadaanan lahat ng questions na to, this tree here will be reduced to some pertinent questions na lang. And it will be reduced somehow 4 levels. Alright? So yun yung advantage ng paggamit ng decision trees algorithm. So in this case, 14 records pa lang siya. So what if 1,000 records or more ang meron tayo? So medyo mahirap mag-classify ng ating output. Right? So we have different kinds of decision tree algorithms, and one is the one that we're going to discuss today is the ID3 or iterative dichotomizer tree. Right? C.45 is a successor ID3, so we're not going to discuss that. We're just going to focus here on the ID3. Right? Okay, so this is the algorithm for ID3. Medyo mahirap intindihin, but I'll be showing to you using manual processing using Excel. Okay? I'll be changing the window here from the presentation to the Excel. Saan siya? Here. Okay. Kita ba ang aking Excel file? Anyone? Kita niyo ba yung Excel file ko?
Yes, po, sir.
Malinaw ba? Okay.
Yes, po.
All right. Now, let's start with, from this, sa ID3, we need to identify first kung ano yung magiging root node natin. So, yun yung first question na kailangan natin itanong. Or what column here are we going to ask first? Okay? So, for us to do that, we need to do some computations and some derivations. Okay, and those computations are what we call the information entropy and the information gain. Let's go back muna, mga pala. Let's go back muna sa slides. Ito ako. Okay. Kailangan nga pala yun. Okay. So, information entropy, ito yung magde-determine kung we can process, we can gather more information or not. Ito yung mag-identify kung marami ba tayong information na magigain sa isang column or not. Okay. And yung formula nun. Ito. This is the formula for information entropy. Okay. is a negative summation of the probability of X and summation of the product of the probability of X and the log of the probability of X. So medyo complicated yung equation, but I'll be explaining it mamaya sa Excel. So yung P of X there will be the probability. For example, we have a bag of 10 green marbles. Calculate the entropy of selecting green marble from the bag. So since we have one entity lang, which is the green marble, one green marble lang, so we are going, the probability here will be the number of green marbles against the total number of marbles. So since the total green marbles is equal to the total number of marbles, then over 10 is equal to 1. So if we're going to compute for the probability, or for the entropy of this one, okay, so P of X is 1, since we have already computed it here, and the log of P of X, 1, is 0, or unknown, or we just consider it as 0, right? And then multiply that to 1 is 0, and the negative is 0 is 0. So ibig sabihin, in this case, we cannot get any information from this scenario. So it's not a good training set. But for example, nagkaroon ng variations. We have 5 green marbles and 5 red marbles. So we have 2 entities na, green marbles and the red marbles. Now, for the equation now will be different na, since we are going to add the probability of those 2 marbles, the probability of green marbles, and multiplied by the log of the probability of green marbles, plus the probability, the product of the probability of the red marbles multiplied by the log of probability of red marbles. Ito na siya, 5 over 10, 0.5 times -1, and 0.5 times -1, which is parehas negative 0.5. And to add that will be -1, and since may negative sa labas, it will be 1. So the entropy here is 1. So in this case, marami pa tayong information na mag-gain for processing sa ML. Okay. Now, after that, I'm going to discuss to you the information gain. So information gain naman, discuss ko na lang mamaya doon sa Excel. Okay. All right. Let's go back there. Window. All right. Sabi ko kanina, the first step here for our ID3 algorithm is to identify the first question or the first thing that we need to ask sa user. Okay. And for us to do that, we need to compute for the entropy of our output column. Ang output column natin is our play. So we need to get the entropy of the play. For this one, we're going to use a linked list, or a pivot table. Right? So I'm going to drag the play on the columns, and then the number on the values. Maximize natin para makita na lahat. All right. So since nakasum siya, I'm going to change it to count. Field settings. So being count na lang siya. So since we have 14 records total, we get 9 yeses and 5 nos. So for us to compute for the entropy of the play column, we need the probability of X of the yes, yes, and then the probability of no, which is we need to get the value of yes divided by the total number of responses The probability of no is the total number of no divided by the total number of response. Okay. Now the entropy here, entropy, will have the formula. Ano na nga to? Ito. Ito yung formula ngayon ng entropy. Since we need to compute for this one and this one. Dalawa ng entities niya. Probability of product of the probability of no and the log of no, and the product of probability of yes and the log of yes. Okay. So yung formula dito, formula here, success ko na lang to. Ito na siya. Okay. Negative sum of the probability for the no. Ito. This is the first thing. And the probability of the yes portion. Okay. Inadd siya, and then apply the negative portion, and it is 0.94. Now once we get the entropy of the output column, we're going to do the same thing sa mga columns na available dito sa atin, which is the outlook, temperature, humid, and wind. So we need to identify kung alin dito ang pwede nating gawing a route for our decision tree. In this case, ino natin yung outlook, which has four responses for overcast, 5 responses for rain, and 5 responses for sunny. Sa overcast, walang response sa no, lahat ay yes. Sa rain, dalawa ang response sa no, and 3 sa yes, and so on and so forth. So we compute for the entropy of each of this value here. Okay. So entropy na itong isa is 0 because isa lang yung may value, o lahat ng values sa overcast is directing to yes. And then the entropy of the next two values ng outlook column is 0.97. Now here is the ratio of the responses of the values of the outlook against the total number of the responses. Ito yung ano niya. So, for example, ang SV divided by S is the total responses of overcast divided by the total number of responses, and so on and so forth. And the information gain formula is this one. Entropy minus the product of the sum of all the products of the ratio of the overcast against the total number of responses, and then its entropy, and so on and so forth. Ito siya. Okay. Yun. And the output is 2.4. Now, doing the same thing on the other fields, I'm going to show it na here, the values. Ginawa ko na siya kasi medyo kulang sa oras. So once we need to finish it until all of the columns here has been computed para malaman natin yung first column to be our root and the first column to be asked. Okay, so we have already computed for the information gain ng wind, humidity, and then temperature, right? So from this one, we are going to show this one, and yung may pinakamataas na information gain will be our root. So in this case, the outlook here has the maximum or the highest number of the information gain. And then this will be our root sa ating decision tree. Now, once we have already identified the root, we need to branch them out based on the responses na meron tayo sa overlook, which are overcast, rain, and sunny. I'm going to show na lang yung other sheets here. sunny, unhide, overcast, and then unhide, rain. So iterative yung ID3 as you have observed. Okay. Okay. So kukunin natin yung data ng rain. Sunny muna. Okay, sunny. Sunny muna. So lahat ng data under ng rain, under ng sunny for the outlook, kukunin natin. And sisimulan ulit natin yung pagkuha ng entropy for the output, which is the play column. Right? But then, para makuha natin yung next column to be asked after ng outlook for the sonic attribute, hindi natin isasama yung outlook column sa itatanong. We just have to compute for the temperature, humidity, and wind. So in this case, ino natin yung temperature. Okay, we get the probability of yes and no's for each responses here. It's entropy and the ratio of the responses of each of the fields or values against the total number of responses under the sunny outlook. And the information gain will be this one. Okay. Don't worry, I'll be providing this Excel file para kayo na rin bahala mag-analyze ng process. Yun lang siya. Okay. So we have already computed for the entropy and the information gain for each of the labels. So we're going to check now kung alin sa kanila yung may pinamataas na information gain. And from here, the column humidity has the highest information gain. So ito yung magiging next, this will be the next node below ng sunny node ng outlook. Okay. Ayan siya. Ngayon, sa humidity, since it is the next column, kailangan natin i-divide or gumawa ng another children after ng sunny node para mahiwalay natin yung values ng humidity and normal. In this case, kapag nakita natin na yung for example, sa high, lahat ng response niya is no, output niya is no. Automatic, this portion here will be a leaf node na. And this will be the actual response na. So, what in case na yun nga, nagtanong, outlook, sunny, what is the humidity? High, automatic, ang response na niya is no na. Hindi niya dadaanan yung iba pang columns na para tanungin kung ano yung magiging decision kung laro ba siya sa labas or hindi. So with these two questions lang, you were able to get the response or the outcome of our problem. Same thing with normal. Normal. Since yung lahat ng normal responses under humidity results to yes, automatic, na this node here will become a leaf node and it will be a yes answer. So outlook sunny, humidity normal, automatic, you can play outside. Right? Round 3, overcast. Let's check the value of overcast. Since all the responses under the overcast has yes output, okay, automatic, itong overcast node na directed from the root na outlook will be answered yes. So for that case, if the outlook is overcast, automatic, you can play outside. So wala nang dadaan pang ibang questions or fields for you to ask if you can play or not. Automatic, pag overcast, it will be a yes. For the round 4, kinuha natin lahat ng data for rain. So I'm just going to display na lang dito yung mga results. Bakit tinago? Ako may oras pa. 1 minute. Overtime. All right, sorry about this. Okay. So, ganun pa din, same thing. We need to get the entropy of the responses under the rain data. 5 responses siya under the rain data. And then we need to get the entropy and the information gain for each of the columns here. Temperature, humidity, and wind. All right. And then once we get those information gain data, hanapin natin kung alin yung pinakamataas. Obviously, it's wind because from the value itself. Yes, siya. Right. Now, so wind, we're going to sort the data for the wind. Sending. Okay. Now, given na, for the first entry here, lahat ng strong value under the wind results to no. Ibig sabihin, this will be a leaf node, and ang takbo ng questioning dito is outlook is rain, wind is strong, you cannot play outside. So if, for example, for the response weak naman, automatic yes na ang response because wala nang lahat ng data under ng weak category ng wind will result to yes. So, questioning, what is the outlook? Rain. What is the wind? Wind, it's weak. You can play outside. So that ends the processing of ID3. And the result tree for this one, let me just go back here sa slide. Okay. Yeah, ito na yung result tree ng ating ID3 algorithm. So sa outlook, kapag ang result is sunny and then the humidity is high, automatic no, you cannot play outside. Outlook sunny, outlook sunny and the humidity is normal, automatic yes, you can play outside. For overcast outlook, automatic, you can play outside na. No need for you to ask other questions. And wind, outlook, if it is rain, what is the wind? If it's weak, you can play outside. But if it is strong, you cannot play outside. Compare this tree dun sa tree kanina, pinakita ko. Let me just go back there. One, all right? So lahat ng criteria dito tatanungin mo pa for you to get the yes and no answer. But on these using the decision tree algorithm, you will be able to create decision trees that will reduce the number of questions that you need to ask para makuha mo yung gusto mong sagot. And in this case, it has been reduced to 2 levels. So this will be the kumbaga, ito na yung itatraverse ni machine ni ML to get your prediction. Ano yung hindi nakasama scenario dito? For example, na-exhaust na lahat ng columns na to get the answer, but then again, meron pa ring naiibang sagot. For example, overcast. Last column na natin for classifying the answer is the overcast column, and still we have different values for the play. Kung ano man yung may maximum, kung ano yung kumbaga most common na sagot sa column na to for this column, it will be the response. So in this case, kapag overcast, in general, you can play outside. Okay? May times na hindi, pero generally, you can play outside. So it is not a definite answer, but the answer is based on the common output. Right? The takeaway, na medyo mahirap or nakakalitaw intindihin ng ID3. Lalo na ngayon, medyo namadali ko na yung discussion. And if you're able to study on your own, steps manually, you'll be able to understand the ID3 algorithm. And there are also other examples online for the ID3. Pero you can check on it and you can study it on your own. So for the code, this one, last na to. Sorry about this. Sorry for that. Okay, last one. I'll show you na lang yung the output of the ID3 tree. There you go. Open. All right. So this is the code for doing the ID3 algorithm. Medyo mahaba siya, as you can see on the right side. Ang dami niyang gagawin. The data that has been used here is a CSV file. So gumamit siya ng CSV to get the data. And then I just run this here. I'll just run this code. Java ID3 driver. Yan. Ito yung ginawa niya kanina. Same thing na ginawa ko kanina. Same thing nang nasa Excel file. Okay. So this is the raw data. We have the raw data. We need to get the first column, or first the root node, which is the outlook, by calculating the entropy of the play column and the information key for each of the columns here. The largest is the outlook. So ito yung magiging root node. Next up is the overcast. Since wala lahat ng response to overcast is yes, automatic siyang leaf. Then another branch from the outlook is the sunny. So we compute for the entropy of the play and then get the information gain for the remaining columns. And the largest is the humidity. We add the node and we have the normal for the humidity. And since yun nga, for the normal, lahat ng response is yes, it will be a leaf. And for the high humidity, all the responses knows it is a leaf. And for the rain, same thing, computed the play, the entropy of play for the rain data, and then the information for the temperature, humidity, and wind. The highest is wind. So nag-branch out yung wind for weak and strong. So weak, lahat ng response, lahat ng data with weak is yes, automatic. It is a leaf na. And for the response to strong wind, it should be no. And the output tree is this one. This is the root, overcast. So pwede kang mag-play sa labas. It's sunny, and the humidity is normal. You can play outside. The humidity is high, hindi ka pwede lumabas. Kapag umulan and mahina ang hangin, pwede ka lumabas. Pero kapag umuulan at malakas ang hangin, hindi ka pwede lumabas. Yun. And that is the end of my presentation. And let me just have the summary of the slides. Okay. So these are the reference of my topic. So you can just check it out. And also, if I'm promoting this research questionnaire, all right, you can visit this site here to participate in this research survey. And in return naman, if you want me to be one of your respondents in research, you can contact me on this email address. And thank you very much. I'm open na ako sa question and answer.
Ayun po, thank you, Sir Aris.
Alright.
Naipon po natin na medyo
Yeah.
madami po ang questions,
Sorry
sir.
for the overtime.
Okay lang, sir. Actually, na-appreciate nga po namin sa DICT, sir, na binibigay niyo po ang time niyo po talaga para sa amin. And ayun po, sir. So for our first question, so yung questions po na inipon namin, in order po siya since start po ng webinar natin. So first po kay Sir, first question po from Melvin Cortez. Ay sir, may sagot na yata kayo dito, pero
Yeah.
let's share it with the others po. What about sir, regarding po sa regression or classification, sir, tanong po ni Sir, ni Melvin Cortez, what about sales forecasting? Pwede regression?
So sa sales forecasting, kasi since we're talking about numbers here, okay, we use regression. And pwede din natin gamitin ng classification because we are giving a higher limit and lower limit of our sales status or sales forecasting. So kumbaga, this is the maximum we can get for this period. This is the minimum sales we need to have for this period. And yun nga, sales forecasting is pwedeng regression, pwedeng classification. Yun yan.
Thank you for that, sir. So another question po from Melvin Cortez. How about biometrics daw po, eye scanning? How is it classified daw po, sir?
This is, the biometric scanning and eye scanning is, I think this is more of unsupervised learning. So, wala siyang definite data or definite data for this. So, it will be kumbaga parang pattern recognition ang mangyayari dito. So, this will be hindi siya under supervised learning because yung regression and classification are under supervised learning. So, regression and classification will not be under this type of technology, biometric scanning. It will be under unsupervised learning. Ibang algorithm gagamitin dito.
Thank you, sir. So another question po from Melvin Cortez. What about predicting a person? Parang regarding po sa past cases po ng COVID natin, very timely po ang question niya. So how about predicting a person if positive or not daw po? How is it classified daw, sir?
Yun. May napanood akong parang report sa GMA yesterday wherein nagkakaroon ng proposal ang DOH for kumbaga parang mas mabilisang identification if this person is infected with COVID or not. So they will be having a testing ng isang cluster ng people. So within this cluster, it will be subdivided into different clusters, right? So kukuha ng samples per cluster na pwedeng i-test. And then, kumbaga, kung isa sa mga sample from each of the cluster there ay maging positive, that whole cluster na kinabibilangan ng sample na yon will be considered as kumbaga positive na. So kumbaga, somehow parang pattern na rin siya eh. So kung may isang nag-positive sa isang cluster na yon, automatic yung the rest can be mahawahan na ng virus and it will be kumbaga good as may COVID or positive sa COVID. So it will be pwede rin siyang classification. Classification. So siya classification.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Singit ko lang po, sir. Announce ko lang po na later on sa mga may webcam po or video cam po sa devices nila, magka-class picture po tayo after po ng webinar natin. So, wag muna po tayong aalis. So, singit ko na po, sir. Another question po from email Kyle Novicio. Magka-relate daw po ba? Are artificial intelligence and data analytics related, sir?
Yes, they are related because data analytics is just a portion of what artificial intelligence is doing. And actually, it's part of the machine learning portion. And meron pang sub-portion pa yung machine learning na dun kabilang si data analytics. Kumbaga, they are kumbaga, not directly related, but it is under the artificial intelligence, or data analytics.
Sure. So, another question po, sir, from Meljon Cortez. For example, daw po sa YouTube, what machine learning or AI siya na-apply na nagpe-predict ng re-recommend po ng video?
Okay. So dito, given na yung ginagamit na data structure ng Google is unstructured, okay? So more or less, this is most probably unsupervised learning scenario wherein it uses the tags na meron doon sa current video na wina-watch mo, and then it will use that tag to get related contents na possible na magustuhan mo din. So for example, if you're using Naruto, if you are currently watching Naruto and we have this, the tag there on the Naruto video is Naruto, that Naruto tag can be linked to other videos, for example, yung Boruto, or another ninja top ninja themed animes. Yun. So yun yung kumbaga magiging magiging way niya para mag-suggest ng other contents maliban doon sa pinapanood mo. So it is unsupervised learning and it's pattern recognition or something like that, or clustering ang mangyayari.
Thank you po, sir. Thank you rin po, Sir Meljon Cortez, sa mga questions po.
Yeah.
Another question po, sir, from Edgardo Malabuyok po. What is the difference between Java and Python programming? Which of them is much easier to use in terms of coding, sir?
Okay, regarding sa programming language, kasi yung Java is as we all know, it is purely object-oriented programming, and though it can be used to create desktop applications and Java server pages. Same thing with Python. Medyo mas lightweight lang yung Python. I'm not sure kasi hindi pa ako nakagamit ng Python in my field of work. So kumbaga, since Python is also considered scripting language, so I think Python for sa bigat ng program or sa bigat ng code or sa resources na ginagamit, mas if you're medyo restrictive sa iyong resources, you can use Python. Easier to use, maraming nagsasabing dali lang matuto or matutunan yung Python. I haven't tested it yet, so I cannot answer that answer for that question. Pero kung sa resources man lang din, I would suggest Python because it is used as a scripting language as well. Yeah.
Okay po. Thank you, sir. So, singit ko lang po, sir, yung question po ni Sir Kenneth Kilantang. Kung regarding po sa passing grade po sa activities, sir. Yun po, wala lang po tayong passing grade. Basta po kumpleto po yung 3 activities na screenshot po course. Tapos, i-upload po natin sa post-eval po natin later na isasend po namin yung link po before tayo
Yes.
hiwa-hiwalay, sir. So, ayun po, sir. Seeing ito po, another question po from Meljun Cortez, sir. Ano po? What is your measurement formula to determine the accuracy of model na ginamit kanina sa entropy, sir? Yung mathematical formula kanina na gumawa ng model. Is there a measure to compute the accuracy of your model, sir? Nakamute po kaya yata kay sir.
Okay, sorry. Regarding din sa computation ng accuracy ng model na ginamit ko kanina for discussion, wala siya doon sa resources na ginamit ko for this one. But then again, accuracy. So yung accuracy doon is more of the information gain. I can say that the information gain formula is where we test the accuracy ng ating model. So from that information gain formula, malalaman natin kung yung each value for that attribute, for that column, is can direct us to the answer or not. Yan yung kumbaga test of accuracy natin doon. But yung actual formula for testing the whole model, walang ganun na mention sa resources ko. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So I think, sir, last question na natin to. Sir. From Maynard Capin, do you think population density may help to proactively monitor infected places to help social distancing, sir? Siguro may nila po ng opinion si sir.
Do you think population density may help to proactively monitor infected places to help? Yes. Kasi if a certain a place is dense, is much dense with mas maraming tao sa lugar na yon, there will be a more probability na magkaroon ng infection. So most probably doon tayo mag-aggressively do some testings and also more social distancing. I-promote yung social distancing para maiwasan yung infection. Kasi yun yung mga hotspots ng infections eh. Basta mas maraming tao sa isang lugar. Yun yung mas prone sa infection. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, sir. Yun po, sir. With that, sir, siguro let's end the Q&A portion na po, sir. And I think the provincial head of DICT Batangas has a message for our resource speaker at our attendees. So, good afternoon po, Ma'am Mary Joy.
Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon po.
Hello po, good afternoon po sa lahat. In behalf of the ICT LC2 and LC2's free Wi-Fi team, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Sir Aris Gil Mendoza for sharing your time and knowledge with us regarding introduction to artificial intelligence and with machine learning in Java. Also to Ma'am Grace Bukad and to BSU, Batangas State U Malvar Campus, CICS Department. I know this webinar will be the great help, especially to students and also to our participants. We really appreciate for taking a few hours of your time to attend our webinar. We will continue to serve and provide webinars for you guys. Again, thank you very much and stay safe, everyone. Sir Randel.